let me be. Oh, something happened. Mercy on me. Bye, baby, bye.
Well, right as Trump walked out, XSplit stopped working. This live stream program stopped working. So we're back, and the fucker's on.
So already you can tell there is a
fucker. Yes, I can tell there's a fucker. Anyways, fix the gain on the camera. And it's about to say ribbit.
There is a missing major figure in this whole
Oh,
fight
God,
that we all
this
have to
has
forget about. And that is the special prosecutor of the United States, who is at this hour probably meeting with his team. He's not there where they hovers. He sort of hovers over the chain. And that is an extraordinarily important part of what's going on in Washington, D.C. And despite all of the grandeur of this setting and the television photos and the members of the Supreme Court, members of the cabinet, out there is a highly regarded investigator who is looking into whether or not he broke the law.
Mr. Vice President, members of Congress, the First Lady of the United States, and my fellow Americans. Less than 1 year has passed since I first stood at this podium in this majestic chamber to speak on behalf of the American people and to address
You don't fucking speak for shit.
And their dreams. That night, our new
I dream of
administration
you as a fucking
had
body
already
bag.
taken very swift action. A new tide of optimism was already sweeping across our land.
I could see the
Each day since, we have gone forward with a clear vision and a righteous mission to make America great again
I'd like to visit
for
that great
all
one day just
Americans.
to
I would buy a shoe just to do this.
No, I'm picturing the two root from Late Night skit in which
Over the last
Seth
year,
Meyers
we have made
says
incredible progress and achieved
Chewy sales
extraordinary
has risen
success.
right after
We
Trump's
have
body
faced
went to the ground.
challenges we expected and others we could never have imagined. We have shared in the heights of victory and the pains of hardship. We have endured floods.
Did you just snort a bunch of fucking coke
and
again?
storms.
Listen to him sniffle,
Through it
for
all,
fuck's sake.
we have seen the beauty of America's soul and the
Either a
steel
cokehead or he
in
doesn't have enough fucking
America's
sense to blow his
spine.
goddamn nose.
Each test has forged new American heroes to remind us who we are and show us what we can be. We saw the volunteers of the Cajun Navy racing to the rescue with their fishing boats to save people in the aftermath of a totally devastating hurricane. We saw strangers shielding strangers from a hail of gunfire on the Las Vegas Strip. We heard tales of Americans like Coast Guard Petty Officer Ashley Leopard, who is here
We
tonight
saw people in Puerto
in the
Rico
gallery with Melania.
dying without power.
FEMA is cutting off its help tomorrow. By the way.
Oh yeah, because 43% of them have power now. So fuck.
Ashley was aboard one of the first helicopters on the scene in Houston during the Hurricane Harvey.
And it couldn't be but 30 seconds into my speech before I fucking capitalized on a veteran.
To help save
Because I'm a
more than
draft
40
dodger.
lives.
No fucking
Ashley,
honor.
we all thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for shit that I could not do. Because I was born with a silver fucking spoon in my mouth. Bought by Russia.
We
I'm saying
heard
what he really
Americans like firefighter David Dahlberg. He's here with us also. David faced down walls of flame.
And because a veteran just isn't good enough for me to capitalize on
California summer camp
and use for my political purposes,
by those devastating
I have included in him
wildfires.
a firefighter.
To everyone still recovering in Texas, Florida, Louisiana, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands.
You don't give a shit about Puerto Rico.
Everywhere.
Sure as fuck don't give a shit about
We
Louisiana.
love you, and we
Don't even
always
fucking mention
will
Puerto
pull
Rico,
through
motherfucker.
together, always. Thank you to David and the brave people of California. Thank you very much, David. Great job.
Fuck you.
Some trials over the past year touched this chamber very personally. With us tonight is one of the toughest people ever to serve in this house. A guy who took a bullet, almost died, and was back to work 3.5 months later. The legend from Louisiana, Congressman Steve Scalise.
I hope he takes some more. That's me speaking for myself right now. It's funny how Alex Jones didn't come out with any conspiracy theories about that one.
You don't know water today. Didn't you look like Bobby Boucher's dad?
Ah. I believe it, but
I think they like you, Steve. We're incredibly grateful for the heroic efforts of the Capitol Police officers, the Alexandria Police, and the doctors, nurses, and paramedics who saved his life and the lives of many others. Some
man, step the fuck off of Louisiana.
in the aftermath, yes.
You fucking Yankee scallywag fucking carpetbagger.
I'd say bless his heart to hear about it.
In the aftermath of that terrible shooting, we came together, not as Republicans or Democrats, but as representatives of the people. But it is not enough to come together only
when
in
did you
times
fucking
of
come
tragedy
together with
tonight.
anyone? All you do is fucking divide people on
to set
Twitter.
aside our differences, to seek out common ground, and to summon the unity.
Dumber than a hat made of dog shit in the fucking summertime.
This is really the key.
When
These
it's
are the
raining.
people we were elected to serve.
I really see his not spirit on him. That was some fucking serious wrestling bitch face. That was some wrestling bitch face even. Got the thing one fucking shoes, a good motherfucker.
And all of a sudden, I remember.
Over the last year, the world has seen what we always knew, that no people on earth are so fearless or daring or determined as Americans. If there is a mountain, we climb it. If there's a frontier, we cross it. If there's a challenge, we tame it. If there's an opportunity, we seize it.
If there's a traitor, we kill him.
By recognizing that the state of our people are strong.
No thanks to you. You guys see how fucking strong we are. Got a nice little jail cell on death row.
And together we are building a safe, strong, and proud America. Since the election, we have created 2.4 million new
If
jobs.
his helicopter actually has roads, or if it's just pictures.
including 200,000 new jobs
No, it's in Russia.
manufacturing alone. Tremendous. After years and years of wage stagnation, we are finally seeing rising wages.
After years and years of economic growth under Obama, we are seeing an exact continuation in the same direction.
Have hit a 45-year low.
Are they getting more respect around the world? Wait, what did you just say?
Something I'm very proud of. African American unemployment stands at the lowest rate ever recorded.
Another trend that started. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Something tells me that they ain't too impressed. Something tells me they might think he's a bit mistaken, a bit exaggerating, a bit full of shit. Stupid clownfish.
11 months ago, we enacted the biggest tax cuts and reforms in American history.
You're just fucking speaking hyperbolically. That's all you're fucking doing.
Our massive tax cuts provide tremendous relief for the middle class and small business. To lower tax rates for hardworking Americans, we nearly doubled the standard deduction for everyone. Now the first $24,000 earned by a married couple is completely tax-free. We also doubled the child tax credit.
So, because you can't govern and because you're a traitor, you're bribing people like Bush did.
Reduced by $2,000, slashing.
Because that's what we need with our giant fucking deficit.
In April, this will be the last time you will ever file under the old and very broken system, and millions of Americans will have more take-home pay starting next month.
Dude.
Because I guarantee you my paycheck
Dude.
is going to go up.
Dude. We just found out that our fucking Cold War nemesis is back.
We eliminated.
Let's give away all our fucking money. Okay? That's what he's doing.
Mostly on Americans, making less than $50,000 a year, forcing them to pay tremendous penalties simply because they. Of the disastrous Obamacare, the individual mandate is now gone.
Did he say one?
the business tax rate from 35% all the way down to 21%, so American companies can compete and
How are we funding the government? Oh yeah, that's right. You work for Russia. You don't want a United States government. I remember that.
These changes alone are estimated to increase average family income by more than 4.
What?
Small businesses have also received a massive tax cut and can now deduct 20% of their business income. Here tonight are Steve Staub and Sandy Keplinger of Staub Manufacturing, a small, beautiful business in Ohio. They just finished the best year in their 20-year history. Because of tax reform, they are handing out raises, hiring an additional 14 people, and expanding into the building store. Good feeling. One of
So
Staub's
you couldn't actually
employees,
run a business
Corey
without fucking
Adams,
free
is
money from the
also
government.
with us tonight. Corey is an all-American worker. He supported himself through high school,
Republicans just make me
lost
fucking
his
sick.
job during the 2008 recession, and was later
It's not
hired
about
by
whether they
Staub,
don't want to fucking
where he
help
trained to
people.
become a
They're all a
welder.
bunch of fucking traitors.
many
They literally just don't
hardworking
want the United
Americans,
States government.
Corey plans to invest his
Fucking
tax
Klan
cut
conspiracy.
raise into his new home and his 2 daughters' education. Corey, please stand.
Do you have any... Okay, has he said anything of substance?
What?
Has he said anything? Okay, so he's
No.
gone from, like, grandstanding on other fucking people to
He still is.
saying a bunch of hyperbolic shit about the economy that he's done nothing. He's literally done nothing to do with it, and he's taking credit for all of it. And other than that, we got the giant fucking tax giveaway to the fucking rich. Oh, but poor people are going to get a little bit too. Gee, thanks. I prefer to have a functioning government. You know. That's just me.
$350 billion in America and hire another 20,000 workers.
It looks like you're going to fucking throw up.
And just a little while ago, ExxonMobil announced a $50 billion investment in the United States. Just a little while. This, in fact, is our new American moment. There has never been a better time to start living the American dream. So to every citizen watching at home tonight, no matter where you've been or where you've come from, this is your time. If you work hard, if you believe in yourself, if you believe in America, then you can dream
just think
anything.
happy thoughts.
You can be anything. And together, we can achieve absolutely anything.
Except loyalty, transparency, lack of emoluments. Halfway decent behavior, manners.
Tonight, I want to talk about what kind of future we're going to have and what kind of a nation we're going to be. All of us together as one team, one people, and one American family can do anything. We all share the same home, the same heart, the same destiny, and the same great
What the
American
fuck
flag.
are you talking about? What kind of family are you? Really? Nobody thinks you have a type.
Yeah.
And people only like him because they think he's gonna make them fucking wicked. Like, it's fucking sick. You're a bunch of whores.
Together we are rediscovering the American way. In America, we know that faith and family, not government and bureaucracy, are the center of American life. The motto is, in God we trust.
Yeah, because government might do things like protect us from fucking Russia! God don't save dumbasses who won't defend themselves. And you're here as an instrument of Satan to prevent that from
And we
happening.
celebrate our police, our military, and our amazing veterans as heroes who deserve our total and unwavering support.
They don't look happy. They literally have the look of why isn't anybody doing anything about this as they like stand and lightly applaud.
Is Preston Sharp, a 12-year-old boy from Redding, California,
Oh, here
who
you go.
noticed that veterans' graves were not marked with flags on Veterans Day. He decided all by himself to change that and started a movement that has now placed 40,000 flags at the graves of our great heroes. Preston, a job well done.
And according to Melania, he's got a bigger dick than you would for that being fair.
The best part about it is Melania has to sit up once while Trump's been speaking. See everybody else standing up around her, and she's just sitting with it.
But she's still up at the little boy because she knew the family got all that.
Young patriots like Preston teach all of us about our civic duty as Americans. And I met Preston a little while ago, and he is something very special that I can tell you. Great future. Thank you very much for all you've done, Preston. Thank you very much.
Civic duty, like filing deferments for
Preston's reference for those who have served our nation reminds us of why we salute our flag, why we put
civic
our
duty, like
hands
using
on our hearts for
the guy who helped Yanukovych stay in power, rigged the Republican primary. Yeah, that's civic duty.
Pledge of Allegiance, and why we proudly stand for the national anthem.
Why don't you go dry hump a flag? Again.
He looked like he leaned over and floated just towards Mike Pence. That it looks like really anything in my head.
And Mike Pence looks like he's enjoying the
Americans love
smell.
their country, and they deserve a government that
Just
shows
wondered
them
that
the same
big
love and loyalty in return. For the last year, we have sought to restore the bonds of trust between our citizens and their government.
No, you haven't.
Working with the Senate, we are appointing judges who will
And yet
interpret
the people
the Constitution as
no
written,
longer trust the government at a rate that they've never had
great
before.
new Supreme Court justice and
Nobody
more
trusts
Circuit
you.
Court judges
Nobody trusts the
than
president
any
at a
new
rate they've never had
administration
before.
in the history
You are
of our
appointing
country.
people who have never tried a single case in their entire fucking life.
Right? The guy didn't know the basics about legal process. I could have literally gone in there and winged those fucking questions better than this guy did.
We are totally defending our Second Amendment and have taken historic actions to protect religious liberty.
What?
Unless you're Muslim.
Or an actual Christian? What religious liberty has he fucking protected? by making
Serving
Christians
our
look like
brave
a fucking
veterans,
laughing stock by
including
claiming to be
giving
one?
our veterans choice in their healthcare decisions.
Obama did that.
Yep. And he hasn't even appointed people to some of the top staffs in the Veterans Affairs Department.
Yeah, notice how the military men off to the right were not clapping.
The military guys aren't clapping.
Seated and not clapping.
Last year, Congress also passed, and I signed, the landmark VA Accountability Act.
Where's your accountability for all the money you supposedly were going to donate to the VA?
Since its passage, my administration has already removed more than 1,500 VA employees who failed to give our veterans the care they deserve. And we are hiring talented people who love our vets as much as we do.
Well, you fired a bunch of people, but you haven't fucking hired many. The lines are still growing. The wait's still getting longer.
And I will not stop until our veterans are properly taken care of, which has been my promise to them from the very beginning of this great journey.
Has he said anything about our international state of affairs?
All Americans deserve accountability and respect, and that's what we are giving to our wonderful heroes, our veterans.
It's just one fucking brown nose after another.
So tonight I call on Congress to empower every cabinet secretary with the authority to reward good workers and to remove federal employees who undermine the public trust or fail the American people.
Uh-huh. He's calling for a fucking purge. And now even all the Republicans
To make
are
Washington accountable, we have eliminated more regulations in our first year than any administration in the history of our country.
because, you know, who needs things like environmental protections or banking protections for consumers? Regulations on the
We
stock
have
market.
ended
Who needs
the
that?
war on American energy, and we have ended the war on beautiful, clean coal.
Yet no new factories are open, no new jobs have been created in the coal industry. And we've gone to war with the solar industry, which has about 3 times more jobs in the coal industry.
An exporter of energy to the world.
No, that was Obama. That was
In
Obama.
Detroit, I halted government mandates that crippled America's great,
Fake news.
beautiful auto workers, so that we can get Motor City revving its engines again, and that's what's happening. Many car companies are now building and expanding plants in the United States, something we haven't seen for decades.
Bullshit.
Chrysler is moving a major plant from Mexico to Michigan. Toyota and Mazda are opening up a plant in Alabama, a big one, and we haven't seen this in a long time. It's all coming back.
You're so full of shit. It happened regularly under Obama. Fox News just wouldn't tell you. Maybe that's why he's so fucking stupid.
Very soon, auto plants and other plants will be opening up all over our country.
I don't know if you realize this, But Obama saved the American auto industry. What the fuck have you done?
Totally
Nothing.
unaccustomed to hear. For many
Fucking
years,
taking credit
companies
for
and
other people's hard
jobs
work.
were
Oh yeah,
only
that's what you've always
leaving
done.
us. But now they are roaring back. They're coming back. They want to be where the action is. They want to be in the United States of America. That's what it was. Exciting progress is happening every single day. To speed access to breakthrough cures and affordable generic drugs, last year, the FDA approved more new and generic drugs and medical devices than ever before in our country's history.
Because who needs a thorough review process on things like medication?
Oh yeah, because we don't already have a bad enough problem in this country of people being addicted to medications.
We also believe that
Over-medicated.
patients with terminal conditions, terminal illness, should have access to experimental treatment immediately that could potentially save their lives. People who are terminally ill should not have to go from country to country to seek a cure. I want to give them a chance right here at home. It's time for Congress to give these wonderful, incredible Americans the right to try.
What?
What?
The what? The right to try?
To try what?
To try and pay lots of money for experimental
One of my
treatments?
greatest
Oh,
priorities
okay.
is to reduce the price of prescription drugs.
But then who's
Like
going to be
Obama
lining
did
your
that.
pockets if a big pharma's not, overcharging?
Obama did that. We've kind of been doing the
In
opposite
many
of
other
that.
countries, these drugs cost far less than what we pay in the United States, and it's very, very unfair. That is why I've directed my administration to make fixing the injustice of high drug prices one of my top priorities for the year.
Yeah, we'll see. Kind of sounded like you're educated for a second. And I thought,
And prices will come down substantially. Watch. America has also finally turned the page on decades of unfair trade deals that sacrificed our prosperity and shipped away our companies, our jobs, and our wealth. Our nation has lost its wealth, but we're getting it back so fast. The era of economic surrender is totally over. From now on, we expect trading relationships to be fair and, very importantly, reciprocal.
Are they clapping because he said a big word? Like, I'm really not understanding this shit here. My sister just asked who writes all this bullshit for him. I told her I said it first grade, but that's getting too much credit.
And negotiate new ones, and they'll be good ones, but they'll be fair. And we will protect American workers and American intellectual property through strong enforcement of our trade rules. As we rebuild our industries, it is also time to rebuild our crumbling
I just
infrastructure.
haven't completely tuned out for a second. Oh my god. This is gotta get stupid.
America is a nation of builders. We built the Empire State Building in just 1 year. Isn't it a disgrace that it can now take 10 years just to get a minor permit approved for the building of a simple road?
Or maybe if you're
I'm asking both parties to come together to give us safe, fast, reliable, and modern infrastructure that our economy needs and our people deserve.
with the qualifications to get the permit. Take 10 years to meet the qualifications, don't get the permit.
I'm loving the faces of the Democrats. I can't get over that.
Tonight I'm calling on Congress to produce
I
a
have
bill
never
that
seen
generates
fucking
at least
Democrats look so pissed off.
$1.5 trillion for the new infrastructure investment that our country so desperately needs. Every federal dollar should be leveraged by partnering with state and local governments, and where
You already gave away all the
tapping
federal
into
dollars.
private sector investment to
And you spent the
permanently
rest of your
fix
goddamn plane trips
the
to Mar-a-Lago.
infrastructure deficit, and we can do it. Any bill must also streamline the permitting and approval process, getting it down to no more than 2 years and perhaps even one.
People is gonna blow later.
Together, we can reclaim our great building heritage.
I think Mike Pence is singing a song in his head. That's why he keeps bobbing his head.
We will build
That's good.
gleaming
How
new
long we went
roads,
before.
bridges, highways, railways, and waterways all across our land. And we will do it with American heart, American hands, and American grit.
And lots of materials from China.
We want every American to know the dignity of a hard day's work. We want every child to be safe in their home at night. And we want every citizen to be proud of this land that we all love so much. We can lift our citizens from welfare to work, from dependence to independence, and from poverty to prosperity. And
God, just the looks on
as
people's
tax cuts
faces.
create new jobs, let's invest in workforce development and let's invest in job training, which we need so badly.
Yeah, that's really annoying.
You just passed a bill not doing that.
Let's open great vocational schools
Or
so
infrastructure.
our future workers can learn and
Dude,
create.
what the fuck are you talking? You just gave away all our fucking money. You can't do any of this. You just didn't do. You just had the chance to do this. You had this thing called a budget, in which you allocate funds for these things that you're fucking talking about. Oh fuck. Oh my god. Are they applauding my leaving?
As America regains its strength, opportunity must be extended to all citizens. That is why this year we will embark on reforming our prisons to help former inmates who have served their time get a second chance at life.
Does he just not even fucking have a clue how to get in the place at all? Or does he really just know he's completely full of shit?
Struggling communities, especially immigrant communities.
Okay, so like generally speaking, the State of the Union, after you pass a big budget bill, you tell people what's in the fucking budget bill. Now he got through all the tax cuts in the fucking giveaways, didn't mention all the shit that he gave away to the rich. Now he's talking about more things that cost a lot more money after they've already passed this spending bill. None of these things are in it. So what the fuck is he talking about?
His friends on Long Island. But in September 2016, on the eve of niece's 16th birthday, such a happy time it should have been, neither of them came home. These two precious girls were brutally murdered while walking together in their hometown. 6 members of the savage MS-13 gang have been charged with Kayla and Niece's murders. Many of these gang members took advantage of glaring loopholes in our laws to enter the country as illegal, unaccompanied alien minors and wound up in Kayla and Niece's high school. Evelyn, Elizabeth, Freddie, and Robert, tonight everyone in this chamber is praying for you. Everyone in America is grieving for you. Please stand. Thank you very much.
It looks like the husband wanted him to do that. They all live at home. They just look downright uncomfortable. The women are crying.
I want you to know that 320 million hearts are right now breaking for you. We love you. Thank you. But we cannot imagine the depths of that kind of sorrow. We can make sure that other families never have to endure this kind of pain. Tonight I am calling on Congress to finally close the deadly loopholes that have allowed MS-13 and other criminal gangs to break into our country. We have proposed new legislation that will fix our immigration laws and support our ICE and Border Patrol agents. These are great people. These are great, great people that work so hard in the midst of such danger so that this can never happen again. The United States is a compassionate nation. We are proud that we do more than any other country anywhere in the world to help the needy, the struggling, and the underprivileged all over the world. But as President of the United States, my highest loyalty, my greatest compassion, my constant concern is for America's children, America's struggling workers, and America's forgotten communities. I want our youth to grow up, to achieve great things. I want our poor to have their chance to rise. So tonight I am extending an open hand to work with members of both parties, Democrats and Republicans, to protect our citizens of every background, color, religion, and creed.
Silk fucking president. Talking about our children, and he just sold them up the river
and
to
the
Russia.
sacred duty of every elected official in this chamber is to defend Americans, to protect their safety, their families, their communities, and their right to the American dream. Because Americans are dreamers too.
You conspired with Russia to interfere with my right to free speech, and are continuing to do so. I will defend America except against its enemies.
Here tonight is one leader in the effort to defend our country. Homeland Security Investigation Special Agent Celestino Martinez. He goes by TJ and CJ. He said, call me either one. So we'll call you CJ. Served 15 years in the Air Force before becoming an ICE agent and spending the last 15 years fighting gang violence and getting dangerous criminals off of our streets. Tough job. At one point, MS-13 leaders ordered CJ's murder, and they wanted it to happen quickly. But he did not cave to threats or to fear. Last May, he commanded an operation to track down gang members on Long Island. His team has arrested nearly 400, including more than 220 MS-13 gang members. And I have to tell you what the Border Patrol and ICE have done. We have sent thousands and thousands and thousands of MS-13 horrible people out of this country or into our prisons. So I just want to congratulate you, CJ. You're a brave guy. Thank you very much.
That are not, that are in MS-13. It's not just people jumping across the fucking border. There are people that were born and raised here, fucking inmates there.
And I asked CJ, what's the secret? He said, we're just tougher than they are. And I like that answer. Now let's get Congress to send you and all of the people in this great chamber have to do it. We have no choice. CJ, we're going to send you reinforcements, and we're going to send them to you quickly. That's what you do. Over the next few weeks, the House and Senate will be voting on an immigration reform package. In recent months, my administration has met extensively with both Democrats and Republicans to craft a bipartisan approach to immigration reform. Based on these discussions, we presented Congress with a detailed proposal that should be supported by both parties as a fair compromise, one where nobody gets everything they want, but where our country gets the critical reforms it needs and must have.
Yeah, that's still the same.
Here are the four pillars.
Marco Rubio did not stand. He just looks fucking pissed off. He's looking
of our
around
framework
like, what the fuck is
generously offers a path to citizenship for 1.8 million illegal immigrants who were brought here by their parents at a young age. That covers almost 3 times more people than the previous administration covered. Under our plan, those who meet education and work requirements and show good moral character will be able to become full citizens of the United States over a 12-year period. The second pillar fully secures the border.
This thing you haven't even negotiated yet. Okay. You're telling us what it's going to have.
It's what do you want, $56 billion for?
That means building a great wall on the southern border And it means hiring more heroes like CJ to keep our communities safe.
Keep them safe from people who want a better life.
Crucially, our plan closes the terrible loopholes exploited by criminals
Just
and terrorists
tunnels
to enter our
like
country.
Russia
And
doesn't
it finally
exist.
ends the horrible and dangerous practice of catch and release.
You just realize these are people and not like animals, right?
Yeah, that's true.
The third pillar ends the visa lottery, a program that randomly hands out green cards without any regard for skill, merit, or the safety of American people.
Really?
It's time to begin moving toward a merit-based immigration system, one that admits people who are skilled, who want to work, who will contribute to our society, and who will love and respect our country.
Boom!
The fourth and final pillar protects the nuclear family by ending chain migration. Under the current broken system, a single immigrant can bring in virtually unlimited numbers of distant relatives. Under our plan, we focus on the immediate family by limiting sponsorships to spouses and minor children.
Wow. So fuck you, shit, aunt, fuck your grandma.
This vital reform is necessary not just for our economy, but for our security and for the future of America. In recent weeks, 2 terrorist attacks in New York were made possible by the visa lottery and chain migration. In the age of terrorism, these programs present risks we can just no longer afford. It's time to reform.
Oh yeah, there was attacks that occurred on the same day that people in your campaign got arrested. I don't know.
And finally bring our immigration system into the 21st century. These 4 pillars represent a down-the-middle compromise and one that will create a safe, modern, and lawful immigration system. For over 30 years, Washington has tried and failed to solve this problem. This Congress can be the one that finally makes it happen. Most importantly, these 4 pillars will produce legislation that fulfills my ironclad pledge to sign a bill that puts America first. So let's come together, set politics aside, and finally get the job done. These reforms will also support our response to the terrible crisis of opioid and drug addiction. Never before has it been like it is now. It is terrible. We have to do something about it. In 2016, we lost 64,000 Americans to drug overdoses. 174 deaths per day, 7 per hour. We must get much tougher on drug dealers and pushers if we are going to succeed in stopping this scourge.
No, they're getting the fucking. Oh my god. Oh my god.
So you're going after weed.
Oh my god.
You're going after states that legalize weed. That's
My
what he's been doing.
administration is committed to fighting the drug epidemic and helping get treatment for those in need, for those who have been so terribly hurt. The struggle will be long and it will be difficult, but as Americans always do, in the end, we will succeed, we will prevail. As we have seen tonight, the most difficult challenges bring out the best in America. We see a vivid expression of this truth in the story of the Holletz family of New Mexico. Brian Holletz is 27 years old, an officer with the Albuquerque Police Department. He's here tonight with his wife, Rebecca.
You know, these fucking people make it so they stay right there. Alright, wait, glad you don't shoot that nobody. Yeah, people just clueless.
Last year, Ryan was on duty when he saw a pregnant, homeless woman preparing to inject heroin. When Ryan told her she was going to harm her unborn child, she began to weep. She told him she didn't know where to turn.
Why is this
Family
becoming
wanted
everybody's
a
business?
safe home for her baby. In that moment, Brian said he felt God speak to him.
I know, but
You will do it
Yeah, right.
because you can. He heard those words. He took out a picture of his wife and their 4 kids. Then he went home to tell his wife, Rebecca. In an instant, she agreed to adopt. The Holletz named their new daughter Hope. Ryan and Rebecca, you embody the goodness of our nation. Thank you.
I saw you while I was binge watching news from my bed, eating McDonald's and Cheetos. Oh, my bed's actually made of Cheetos, that's how I get this color. And I decided to invite you here so I could dance there on you too.
Thank you, Ryan and
Just
Rebecca.
fucking using these people.
As we rebuild America's
So many
strength
of them.
and confidence at home, we are also restoring our strength and standing abroad. Around the world, we face rogue regimes, terrorist groups, and rivals like China and Russia that challenge our interests, our economy, and our values. In confronting these horrible
That's why you
regimes,
gave Russia classified information
is the
today.
surest path to conflict. And unmatched
People
power
Congress started
is the
talking about the
surest
sanctions.
means to
Well,
our
this is how
true
today happened, okay? He gave classified information to Russia last night. Gave them the sanctions list instead of implementing the sanctions so that they could move their money around and hide it. A couple people in Congress came out today and said, this is really bad. And then Russia buzzed one of our aircraft. Closed within 5 feet. And then proceeded to jet wash it, which means moving to the front of an aircraft at close range so that your exhaust hinders its aerodynamic flow. I know that's hot there.
I just love every time you're sitting here, guys.
Perhaps
I like
someday in the
unpausing
future
it
there will
after
be
I
a
speak, and then
magical
there's a
moment
pause because it sounds like they're applauding.
when the countries of the world will get together to eliminate their nuclear weapons. Unfortunately, we are not there yet, sadly. Last year, I also pledged that we would work
Two people
with our
are you
allies
supposed to
to
cut?
extinguish ISIS
I think
from
that
the
was a
face
seal.
of the earth. 1 year later,
Fucking leopard
I am
seal.
proud to report that the coalition to defeat ISIS has liberated very close to 100% of the territory just recently held by these killers in Iraq and in Syria and in other locations as well. But there is much more work to be done. We will continue our fight until ISIS is defeated. Army Staff Sergeant Justin Peck is here tonight. In Raqqa,
Oh
last
God.
November, Justin and his comrade, Chief Petty Officer Kenton Stacy, were on a mission to clear buildings that ISIS had rigged
I wish just one of these people would just flip
so
them
that
off.
civilians
That was
could
my fucking joke.
return to that city, hopefully soon and hopefully safely. Clearing the second floor of a vital hospital, Kenton Stacy was severely wounded by an explosion. Immediately, Justin bounded into the booby-trapped and unbelievably dangerous and unsafe building and found Kenton, but in very, very bad shape.
It's like,
He applied
it's
pressure
not
to
as
the
though
wound
he's like
and inserted a
making a
tube
theme of his speech.
to reopen an airway.
I want to
He
tell you
then
about the American
performed
people instead
CPR
of telling you about what I've
for
done.
20 straight
And he's
minutes
just fucking
during the ground transport
using
and
it
maintained
Right, this guy, like,
shamelessly.
respiration.
And most of them look
For
like
2.5
they know it. They're
hours.
just like uncomfortable.
And through emergency
he really doesn't want
surgery.
to be reviewed and living all this
Kenton
shit. Like,
Stacy
Right?
would have died if it were not for Justin's selfless love for his fellow warrior. Tonight,
This
Kenton
guy's face
is recovering in
stone cold.
Texas. Raqqa is liberated, and Justin is wearing his new Bronze Star with a V for Valor. Staff Sergeant Peck, for America.
do you have the same thought I did?
Got one for your face.
Terrorists who do
The one
things
in
like
his head
place
is
bombs
just the
in
right
civilian hospitals are evil. When possible, we have no choice but to annihilate them. When necessary, we must be able to detain and question them. But we must be clear. Terrorists are not merely criminals. They are unlawful enemy combatants.
What?
I just need to know. What?
Are you people really so fucking retarded that you still hung up on whether or not terrorism is a criminal thing?
And when captured overseas, they should be treated like the terrorists.
Obama was
they
hitting
are.
him with fucking
In
drones.
the past,
You
we have
pulled out of
falsely
Syria.
released hundreds and hundreds
Russia,
of
sleep
dangerous
right now,
terrorists, only to meet them again on the battlefield, including the ISIS leader, al-Baghdadi, who we captured, who we had, who we released. So today I'm keeping another promise. I just signed, prior to walking in, an order directing Secretary Mattis, who was doing a great job. Thank you. To re-examine our military detention policy and to keep open the detention facilities in Guantanamo Bay. I'm asking Congress to ensure that in the fight against ISIS and Al-Qaeda, we continue to have all necessary power to detain terrorists wherever we chase them down, wherever we find them. And in many cases, for them, it will now be Guantanamo Bay. At the same time, as of a few months ago, our warriors in Afghanistan have new rules of engagement. Along with their heroic Afghan partners, our military is no longer undermined by artificial timelines, and we no longer tell our enemies our plans. Last month, I also took an action endorsed unanimously by the U.S. Senate just months before. I recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel.
Which is the only thing you've done naively right, proving that you're a shitty negotiator.
Dozens of countries voted in the United Nations General Assembly against America's sovereign right to make this decision. In 2016, American taxpayers generously sent those same countries more than $20 billion in aid. That is why tonight I am asking Congress to pass legislation to help ensure American foreign assistance dollars always serve American interests and only go to friends of America, not enemies.
Oh, that was great. She looked so happy to find out the camera finally got on her, and then fucking Kelly just stood up right in front of her as goofy ass can.
Friendships
Photo bomb.
all around the world.
Oh,
We are also restoring clarity about our adversaries. When the people of Iran rose up against the crimes of their corrupt dictatorship, I did not stay silent. America stands with the people of Iran in their courageous struggle for freedom. I am asking Congress to address the fundamental flaws in the terrible Iran nuclear deal. My administration has also imposed tough sanctions on the communist and socialist dictatorships in Cuba and Venezuela.
Yeah, but what about the ones that were supposed to be implemented on Russia, you fucking asshole?
But no regime has oppressed its own citizens more totally or brutally than the cruel dictatorship in North Korea. North Korea's reckless pursuit of nuclear missiles could very soon threaten our homeland. We are waging a campaign of maximum pressure to prevent that from ever happening. Past experience has taught us that complacency and concessions only invite aggression and provocation. I will not repeat the mistakes of past administrations that got us into this very dangerous position. We need only look at the depraved character of the North Korean regime to understand the nature of the nuclear threat it could pose to America and to our allies. Otto Warmbier was a hard-working student at the University of Virginia, and a great student he was. On his way to study abroad in Asia, Otto joined a tour to North Korea. At its conclusion, this wonderful young man was arrested and charged with crimes against the state. After a shameful trial, the dictatorship sentenced Otto to 15 years of hard labor before returning him to America last June, horribly injured and on the verge of death. He passed away just days after his return. Otto's wonderful parents, Fred and Cindy Warmbier, are here with us tonight, along with Otto's brother and sister, Austin and Greta. Please.
An hour and 12 minutes because we started the second stream. Why? Why would you do that to those people?
It's sad. The Fox News and fucking propaganda should be ashamed of themselves. But they have these people fucking going down to where they live and
You are powerful witnesses to a menace that threatens our world, and your
nobody but a
strength
Fox News
truly
crew would even fucking show up.
inspires us all. Thank you very much. Thank you. Tonight we pledge to honor Otto's memory with total American resolve. Thank you. Finally, we are joined by one more witness to the ominous nature of this regime. His name is Mr. Ji Sung-ho. In 1996, Sung-ho was a starving boy in North Korea. One day he tried to steal coal from a railroad car to barter for a few scraps of food, which were very hard to get. In the process, he passed out on the train tracks, exhausted from hunger. He woke up as a train ran over his limbs. He then endured multiple amputations.
And according to the immigration policy you were just proposing, he would not be here.
To dull the pain or the hurt. His brother and sister gave what little food they had to help him recover and ate dirt themselves, permanently stunting their own growth. Later, he was tortured by North Korean authorities after returning from a brief visit to China. His tormentors wanted to know if he'd met any Christians. He had, and he resolved after that to be free. Sung Ho traveled thousands of miles on crutches all across China and Southeast Asia to freedom. Most of his family followed. His father was caught trying to escape and was tortured to death. Today he lives in Seoul, where he rescues other defectors and broadcasts into North Korea what the regime fears most, the truth. Today he has a new leg, but Sung Ho, I understand you still keep those old crutches as a reminder of how far you've come. Your great sacrifice is an inspiration to us all. Please, thank you.
We wouldn't be here under your policies, Trump.
No, he doesn't love me. He lives in Seoul. He lives in South Korea. Yeah. Yeah.
Why is he here? Stuck for a story?
Sung Ho's story is a testament to the yearning of every human soul to live in freedom. It was that same yearning for freedom that nearly 250 years ago gave birth to a special place.
The story doesn't end in here,
America.
coming here?
It was a small
Like
cluster of
here now?
colonies caught between a great
Is that the
ocean
point of this? He's an American
and a
now?
vast
No?
wilderness.
You
It
got a
was
foreigner
home
with a
to
nice
an
story.
incredible people
At
with
the
a
American
revolutionary idea
I'm good.
that they could rule themselves, that they could chart their own destiny, and that together they could light up the entire world. That is what our country has always been about. That is what Americans have always stood for, always strived for, and always done. Atop the dome of this Capitol stands the Statue of Freedom. She stands tall and dignified among the monuments to our ancestors who fought and lived and died to protect her. Monuments to Washington and Jefferson and Lincoln and King. Memorials to the heroes of Yorktown and Saratoga. To young Americans who shed their blood on the shores of Normandy
What the fuck is he
and the
talking about
fields
now?
beyond, and others who went down in the waters of the Pacific and the skies all over Asia. And freedom
China.
stands tall over one more monument than this one. This capital, this living monument. This is the monument
He's lost
to the
everyone.
American people.
Nobody knows what the fuck he's talking about.
They just,
It gradually came to a close and I thought, okay, it's that, right? Are they chanting Mercedes? Is that what they're
We're
like,
people
for showing up?
whose heroes live not only in the past, but all around us, defending hope, pride, and defending the American way. They work at every trade. They sacrifice to raise a family. They care for our children at home. They defend our flag abroad. And they are strong moms and brave kids. They are firefighters and police officers and border agents, medics and Marines. But above all else, they are Americans. And this capital, this city, this nation belongs entirely to them.
What? Well, that's a pleasant take off there, isn't it?
Our task is to respect them, to listen to them, to serve them, to protect them, and to always be worthy of them. Americans fill the world with art and music. They push the bounds of science and discovery, and they forever remind us of what we should never, ever forget. The people dreamed this country. The people built this country. And it's the people who are making America great again.
Well, it certainly isn't real. Most of this shit is actually recycled from fucking Obama speeches, which is really funny. And then they just
As
have
long
them
as
making
we
it
are proud
regretted.
of who we are and what we are fighting for, there is nothing we cannot achieve. As long as we have confidence in our values, faith in our citizens, and trust in our God, we will never fail. Our families will thrive. Our people will prosper. And our nation will forever be safe and strong and proud and mighty and free. Thank you, and God bless America. Good night.
So what's the state of our union?
President Trump concluded his first State of the Union speech. It was over 1 hour and 20 minutes, one of the longest in history. President sounding a lot of notes, calling for Guantanamo Bay, ordering Guantanamo Bay military prison to remain open. He extended a hand.
Now, somebody rip his fucking balls out. Someone please fucking gun to the goddamn kitchen. Like seriously. I refuse to acknowledge the basic mental competency, let alone the knowledgeable loyalty of anyone who considers that man to be president. You've all lost your fucking minds. Oh, he's a good ass actor when he gets up there and reads on the fucking teleprompter. But almost every fucking thing he said was completely full of shit, unless he was sitting there telling other people's stories. It's fucking disgusting. This guy's been attacking America as a hobby for most of his life. He is everything that we consider wrong with society, all wrapped into one fucking asshole that looks like a goddamn bullfrog got left to dry out in the fucking sun. And a fucking hamster died on his head.
And frankly, I wouldn't give a fuck if he was the most liberal. I just can't even give a fuck what his policies are. I'll tell you when I like what he's doing. I'll tell you when I fucking don't like what he's doing. But you know what? There ain't a goddamn person at fucking Burger King who couldn't do what the fuck he's doing. He ain't doing shit. You sure as hell ain't listening to experts. At least the motherfucker at the drive-thru would be doing that.
Waiting for the Caesar one.
Yeah. Isn't everybody supposed to have a knife?
It's Brutus.
You too, Brute? Ooh. The wrong time to do that, Nation. I was having memories of what really happened in that historical event. The most rigorous of the Roman ways were adopted by the Scythians as they invaded Thrace. We can't consider a group of men, and it's only men, who feel it their privilege and right to take whatever they can by any means necessary. And allow one of their kind, who's been sent here among us through generations, this epitome of everything that thinks about them, when someone thinks about when they think about, like, what's wrong with America. Corrupt, fucking greedy businessmen who just have money and use it to make more money without actually fucking doing anything good for anyone ever. Constantly declaring bankruptcy and fucking getting lawsuits and strong-arming people. So we've taken the old Caesar tradition, which became the Kaiser tradition in Russia after those Scythians came and broke up what was left of the Roman Empire. And this fucking pig, this useless leech who drains billions of dollars from everyone. That's what he does. He makes himself rich by fucking leeching off of people. His father fucking was leeching off the United States government. Had a big fucking scam going. Getting paid to fucking build buildings. Didn't even have to use his own fucking money. Did it as cheap and shit. I mean, just hired somebody else to do it. Just fucking, what the fuck is with this fucking people? No, but that's more initiative than a fucking welfare queen took. No, you're just more of a fucking criminal than a welfare queen. That's all he is. That's all his fucking dad was. That's all his grandpa was. Trump's empire is just a massive fucking, it's just the fattest fucking welfare queen that ever lived. And he's gone knowing that Russia had invaded one of our allies people that sent soldiers to die with us in Iraq and Afghanistan. Okay, that's Ukraine. Okay, they sent soldiers to fight with us. Russia didn't send any fucking soldiers. I don't know if you know this, but Russia didn't send any fucking soldiers to fight with us in Ukraine and Afghanistan and Iraq. Ukraine did. Then Russia invaded them. And who does he side with? Russia. Who does he share our classified information with? Russia. Who was attacking the American people who were trying to organize support for Ukraine here in America? Russia. And who did he go and side with and cooperate with, knowing that they were doing so? Donald Trump colluded with the Russians on an assault against the free speech of the American people. He is a traitor. Now, there are multiple ways in which he has conspired against the United States, but I think the fact that Russia was attacking the American people and he knowingly helped so he could get elected. We're talking cyber terrorism here, people. He assisted cyber terrorism. It's as if he hired them. Now, you hire someone to fucking hurt somebody else, you're guilty of hurting that person. You hire someone to kill somebody else, you're guilty of killing that person. You hire a cyber terrorist through means of emoluments and concessions and things like, oh, a list of the people we were going to sanction. Guess what that makes you, Trump? A fucking terrorist. And terrorists talk all kind of good shit to all kind of fucking people that they want to use. Just like you want to use the people that you have brainwashed with Fox News. I'm tired of fucking taking your views.
It's all kinds of traitor.
All kinds of traitor. The end. Thanks for watching, y'all. Click the like button and subscribe. Peace.
In my heart and baby down in my soul. You, baby, you can't take it no more. No, I know I'm walking out that door the way you treated me too many times before. I know I gotta